All right. Good morning. Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, and friends all over the world. So great to be with you on this beautiful Friday morning. It's extraordinary here in the Coachella Valley, and I'm so excited about our show today. This is Life on Love, what we do every Friday. If you have a moment right now, what I would encourage you to do, and I know you have a moment, call your friend who may not be tuning in and make sure they tune in. We've got an extraordinarily special show today, filled with, people you're familiar with. I'm actually probably the person you're least familiar with on the show this morning, but we've put a cast of characters together who truly are characters. I love these people, and we're sure to have a great show. I want to start with the doctor, Laura Shackleford. Are you there? Come on in. There she
Good morning.
is.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Dr. Laura. How are you today?
Hello. I'm fine. How are you, Reverend Charles?
I'm good. I'm good, Doc. How was your kickoff show yesterday? Your little teaser show?
Well, for me, it was a lot of fun. It was great connecting with Jenny Wiseman, who leads our pet ministry, and she has an incredible background. I had no idea of her background until she sent me her bio, and I'm going, oh, I mean, the woman has been in TV and written books and published, and just quite been busy. Hasn't let COVID stop her at all.
Yeah. Yep. Love it. Awesome. Good to see your face this morning. You look lovely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Coming in next, we've got the dynamic duo. This is Elizabeth Gold and William Conway, the people that keep our center moving. Oh, there they are. Good morning,
everyone.
Good morning.
How are you today? What's going on over there in La La Land, in the land in which you live? How are you?
We're doing great, and we're just excited that we're gonna have a great weekend.
It's gonna be fun interviewing Dr. Joe.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun this morning. And maybe last, but probably not last, Jeff Harrison, our man, the wizard behind the curtain. There he is right there, suffering in Coronado Island.
Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing?
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I just got out of the washer and dryer, and I'm cleaned and pressed.
Oh, there you go. Good. You've been working on your golf game a little bit down there, huh?
Actually, I have. I've probably hit more balls in the last 30 days than I have in the last probably 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, actually,
Right
as I was saying before we got on camera, the golf club now feels a little more familiar in my hands, and it hasn't been like that in a while.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, look at this. Look at the crew. This is your family this morning. We're coming live from various places, which is so wonderful. And the varied places are about to get even more varied. Jeff, do we have a special guest yet, or what? Can we track our guest down? What do we think?
I feel like this is Where is Santa, and I'll go see if I can find him. He's not here yet, but I'll keep looking.
Get your GPS out and see if we can track this guy down. And everybody, I'm telling you again, if you have a moment right now, you should call a friend, phone a friend. What show is that? Phone a friend. It's a game show. Nobody. None of us watch the game show.
What's my line?
The questions where you build up to $1 million.
We found him.
Where
he is.
Did we track him down?
Oh, it looks like a green blob.
Looks like he's got a snorkel on. He's snorkeling.
Where is he?
What is that?
Yes. Ooh.
Is that?
Oh! Well, he hasn't lost his sense of humor.
Oh.
Is there a drink in that?
That's a serious drink. Unmute Dr. Joe. There he is.
Oh.
Is that a
Halloween costume this year?
Yeah, that's it.
Does that mean he's in Hawaii, or the land of pineapple?
It's got to be Hawaii.
Are you in Hawaii? No, they won't let anybody go to Hawaii right now.
No, I'm not in Hawaii. I'm still in Florida.
Florida.
We've been here most of July, or last half of July, all of August, and most of September, and we'll be here another week or two. and then we'll be back in the desert mid-October. But can you guys see me? Am I too dark?
It's a little dark, Dr. Joe. Is there any way you can get a little light in front of you?
I need my assistant to come over here and bring the light for me.
I would recommend turning the light off from behind you.
Your assistant's here in Palm Desert, so that's not gonna work.
Bring me to the light, is what I've heard. Hold on, hang on. Give me 2 seconds.
Hey,
Well, that's helpful.
Just a little
That's
FYI, we've been having a little bit of trouble with the connection from YouTube, and I'm just tidying it up right now. I notice it's still not showing on the website, and I've just fixed it once again. It's been a little finicky. Persnickety, I think, is Reverend or Dr. Laura probably would say persnickety.
Persnickety. Okay,
Now,
so is that
now it's working. Now we have it. Okay.
oh good.
We're live.
So we're all here. Hey, Dr. Joe, great to see your face. Hey, man. Woo. Dude, is that a pool toy?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's a pool toy. I went and got it out of the pool. I thought I'll be the mystery of the finance.
the mystery? And who's that sexy guy that's walking around behind you back there?
My husband. He's been so patient with me. He's so not used to having me around like this, but we've had a great time together.
Yeah,
it's been really different. It's been different to disconnect. We were talking about it. In fact, I talked with my sister yesterday about it, that it's kind of unusual. I mean, I haven't been getting the emails from the center, and I go on Facebook, but I try not to get too involved on what's going on, to try to really spend this time disconnecting from everything, which is what a sabbatical is about. So sometimes I find myself, though, kind of leaning into all the stuff that's going on and the infighting and all that other stuff. And I just have to say, you know what, just hit pause, man. That'll be there in October when you get back. But until then, just go to the gym, eat some healthy food, hang out. And that's exactly what we've been doing. We've been going to the beach. It's been fantastic. It's been fantastic. And a lot of time spent just, I would just say, just kind of like looking forward to how everything will unfold. Because of COVID, there's no predictions about when the center's going to open. So I can't go into that place in my head. And we just have to, we'll figure out what's going to happen with all of us when the time is right. But for right now, this has been an incredible journey for me to find just some complete downtime. And now I do understand something. I do understand why in other countries, it's not about 2 weeks vacation. They give you a month off, because it took us a good 6 weeks to actually get into the headspace where we weren't, micromanaging our life anymore. So it's been really, really helpful.
love it.
Really helpful. So tell me don't tell me what's going on in
No,
the center.
no,
Ask questions about what's happening.
We're not doing that. We're not doing. I took a 24-hour vacation just yesterday, Dr. Joe, and I forgot to do the dial-in idea. So anyway, I need a month. A month sounds really good. So how do you?
Oh, you haven't even been here long enough to have a month.
I'm just saying a month sounds
Sorry.
great. All I'm saying is a month sounds great. How do you feel? How do you feel, Dr. Joe, physically, your heart? I mean, like, how are you, now that you have unplugged, do you feel a sense of peace that you haven't felt in a while? How do you, like, physically and all that? How do you?
Oh, yeah. It's very different. It's a very different feel emotionally and physically. It's slower. The pace is slower. I don't get up in the morning thinking, oh my God, I've got 10,500 things to do. It's been a blessing just to say, okay, when I get up, when I'm tired, I'll sleep. When I'm hungry, I'll eat. When I'm thirsty, I'll drink. And when I want to, go to there's no schedule. The only thing that you have to do here in Florida is, here where we're at, they have a little private gym. And so Trey and I will work out, but the only appointment we ever have in any given day is just to go to the gym. It's like, okay, we got to get our gym on the calendar. It's like, oh my God, that's the most stressful thing you have going on in your life. It's like, yeah, right now that would be it. Oh my God, what time are we going to hit the gym? And so no, it's my heart's very it's very full. I have glimpses of what the future holds at times, and I have had moments of sadness, and they come and go. But for the most part, I mean, it's been a really cathartic healing time, and my heart feels good. And it, just like anything, as we prepare to make this transition, whenever that transition is going to happen. Yeah, the other day I was watching one of our videos. I think I shared it, that I was watching from January, way back in January, Ray Vaughn Owen sing some amazing music, and it was so actually prophetic, because then we didn't know that all of the things were going to happen in the world that were going to happen just a mere few weeks later. So it was kind of interesting to watch that. And that was the one thing that I felt, because I haven't been watching services. I've been purposely telling myself, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, because I'm you know how well William and Elizabeth can tell you, Charles, more than you've been around, but whenever I would watch something on vacation, I'm like texting them while the service is going on, going, oh my God, why is this happening? Why is this? So they were sort of,
well, and probably Dr. Joe, that's a little bit less stress for me. I mean, I hope you wouldn't watch and say, oh, what's Charles up to? What's he doing? How's
well, yeah, no. And so I did watch the other day. I just went back to an old service, and I watched that Ray Vaughn thing, and I just thought, people have asked me, what are you going to miss most about your ministry? And I said, well, one of the things is, we're going to come back and we're going to get the center going again. But I don't think people realize how important our music program is to our center. And when I listen to the likes of like Ray Vaughn, and I go through and I fast forward through some of our old services where we had these people, it's like, I mean, I don't think people understand the importance of what we've actually accomplished over time by getting such amazing guest artists, and our band that does such an amazing job. I think that was going to be one of the things that I missed the most, is being able to synchronize my energy with someone like Levi Christ or Ray Vaughn or Jerry Lynn and Mike and the band and everybody, and have that connection in an environment where there's creativity flowing. Mm-hmm. So that's that. So my heart is really excited about my future, and there are glimpses of kind of getting a little bit upset here and there. But for the most part, I'm telling you, I'm very much at peace, and I very much want this COVID thing to go away so that we can get back to running the church and getting the center back up and running and getting people in there and getting classes going. And I mean, I'm reading all the stuff about what the new staff ministers are doing, and I'm excited to see that. And I know Laura's launched her new program, and I'm just excited to see all the things that are in the hopper, literally in the hopper for our center, and will ultimately prove to be amazing tools of growth for our center. So I'm anxious to get, just like you, Charles, I'm sure you're just anxious to get things going, because I feel like we've just hit this pause button,
And yet we're still doing powerful ministry, and we're doing awesome stuff. And I certainly understand that. You'd mentioned your sister and Trey. Dr. Laura, I know you wanted to ask Dr. Joe.
I was thinking of things that people who have missed you would like to hear. And I thought you might want to update people on what Carly's doing, which is amazing stuff.
So since it's been a while, Carly is now living in Ashland, Oregon. She, fortunately, Alaska Airlines, during this COVID time, they offered leave of absences to all of their flight crew members. And they had enough people take leave of absences at the main line that they didn't have to furlough any pilots at the main line or the regional. So while a lot of pilots are and crew members and airline people may be furloughed as soon as next week, October 1st, because that's when the PPP ended. Carly's not. She's not. She's actually flying. She has her own little apartment now. She's got a roommate. Yeah. She's doing really well, and she's flying. And it's funny because now that Trey's not flying, I always thought, what will it be like the day when I don't have to track flights and see who's going where and doing what? And now I end up tracking her flights. Like, how was your flight? How was your landing? And what's that? Oh, and bidding, because Trey's reminded me, because I always help him do his bidding. And Carly's, I had to learn how to do Carly's bidding, because she's like, I don't care. And I'm like, of course you care. So we had to move that. Hey, Mila, good to see you.
Hi, Dr. Joe.
Another one. Look at that. Wow. So yeah, so Carly's doing fantastic, and because of that, we are doing fantastic. Because when your kids do well, you do well. When they're miserable, you're miserable. So it's been a really good thing. Good thing.
Well, and I saw too that Jerry Lynn posted that Trey just made a new record or a new song or something. What's that?
Well, Trey, come over here.
Come on, Trey. Get in there, buddy.
You in your little tank shirt.
Oh.
And the beard. God, you wear a beard well. You really do. How do you do that? Do you grow it in a particular way? I mean, how do you wear the beard that well?
It's a lot of gray.
Looks
So
good.
tell them about your project.
So we there's a new song, and Jerry Lynn is producing it, and Jared Michael Yates, who sang at the church a while ago, I don't know if you remember him, is engineering the project. He's very, very young, and I think he was on Idol, and he's lives in Laguna Beach, but he took on the project to engineer it, and so he comes and goes, and we're probably 85% through. I'm very excited about it, and Michael Hackley sings on it, and
cool.
And Jerry Lynn, and there's some amazing background vocals and things that they did for me, and I think so far with the project, it just solidifies in my mind that I'm just a very average singer that has his moments here and there. And in this project, I can't do anything without moments. So in this new project, there's some big moments again. And Scott did the orchestrations, which are just off the charts. The other work that they did is off the charts. I often thought maybe I should just hire somebody to just sing the song for me and really make it something. So, but it's been fun. It's nice to be back in there.
Oh.
We went home. We came back to Palm Springs. I guess I was there for 10 days, and Trey was there for 2 weeks. We had to do some little business with my mom and things. But so yeah, while he was there, he went back in the studio, and so yeah, he's got another project. In fact, it's really funny. I was out there talking to some friends the other night, and people don't know. We don't discuss what we do, what we've done like that. We just two average guys. And I mentioned to James, we were talking about it, and I said, hey, did you know Trey has a music video out? And so we were watching it, and he's like, oh my God, that's Trey? And I'm like, look at that. It's like I have my own little Barbara Streisand right here. So, yeah, no, so I'm excited for him. That's his creative outlet. And that's one thing we're trying to find with this time is practicing what our creative outlet will look like. What is it going to be like when we actually have time that's not scheduled? And that's one thing that we really have made a commitment to doing here. Like I said, the only thing we really have scheduled is just our workouts, because people will go, you want to schedule dinner on Thursday? And I'm like, it's Wednesday. I'll schedule Thursday on Thursday. So, like, we're just sort of taking every single day at its best.
I'll tell you a quick story about manifesting things. I've always wanted to take various lessons, and I never could because I flew during the week when people give lessons on anything, like country dancing and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking forward to like having a Tuesday off where I could take a lesson. And one of my goals has always been to ice skate. And Joe's going to roll his eyes because I can't hardly get
He stretched his face. He didn't roll his eyes. He stretched his face.
Look, he can't pick up a sock off the floor without grunting. And I'm like, and now you want to put that on two metal blades and run around on ice skates? It's like, those hips, honey, those knees, that's not gonna happen. But go ahead.
So the funny story is that I've always wanted to take ice skating lessons. And around the resort here, it's very quiet during the week. And some people come in on day passes. They just come and hang out for the day. And it was just Joe and I on one side of the pool, and way on the other side, this very cute young guy all by himself. And our friend Scotty, who works here, came over and he says, do you guys know Aaron? It's like, no, we haven't met him yet. He says, well, Aaron comes on day passes. He lives here in Fort Lauderdale, and he's an ice skating coach. Literally, my hair stood straight up. I'm like,
so did mine.
About the universe. The universe dumped an ice skating coach right into our lap right here in Fort Lauderdale. It was,
wow.
It was fascinating. So Joe was just like, oh my God.
So has it happened yet? Has the lesson happened?
Oh, trust me, there'll be a FaceTime live when that
Okay,
happens.
good. Okay, good. That's what we
Because
all
I
want to
will
know.
be broadcasting from wherever he's going to do this. But I told him, I said, look, I think they need to put a crane in the middle of the ice rink with like a big long thing that's like a harness that Trey wears. So when he goes to fall, the crane like lifts him up so he doesn't hit the ice. Because I'm thinking, like I said, there's a struggle here with, socks on the floor. I can't imagine putting
That's
it on
hilarious.
little blades.
But on a positive note, my outfit has been designed for years. It's navy blue with lots of rhinestones and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, next time we do this, you got to wear it, please. No, oh no. Okay, okay.
Move over, Brian Boitano.
So
Brian Boitano. Yeah.
Coming up.
Trey.
I asked my coach, I said, what are the chances that I could do the gay Olympics? And he says, absolutely, you could do that. He says, I bet you could win it. I'm like, really, why? And he says, because there's nobody in your age group.
Just hang the gold medal around your neck right now. Elizabeth, William, you guys have been walking with Dr. Joe as long as Dr. Laura has, long time. What is this, his sabbatical? This is the longest he's been away in 15, 16 years of ministry. What has this meant to you, and what reflections do you have for Dr. Joe after this time, during this time?
Well, yes, I have been with Dr. Joe probably 15 years. And I remember when Dr. Joe would talk about retirement, he would say, I don't know what I will do, because he's never been with Trey that long, for that long of a week. And he would always, it was amazing it was funny what he would say, but it's amazing how well, I think it's like a whole new honeymoon for them. But what it means to me, I can't talk about it because I don't want to talk about it, because I'm not wearing waterproof mascara. But it's going to be, I'm so happy he's happy. And I'm glad that Reverend Charles, I'm glad that you're put in the place you are. But I would be lying if I said that I just really dread him leaving, just because he means so much to me. And he told me, I said, I just don't know how, even though we still have great energy in the office, but going there and him not being there. But he said, Elizabeth, you could always call me and text me, but just not about business, so he's will be always there. But I don't know. My whole church life has been with Dr. Joe. So not
you so he's not only your boss, you guys have really created a love affair over 15 years.
William knows how I feel about Dr. Joe.
She likes him better than she likes me.
And that's true. I have said that at board meetings. It's true. And I usually tell him he's like my favorite person, and I mean it. He's always the kindest and sweetest, and always just has my best interest, just like everybody else's. You just feel like you're so loved and taken care of, and he makes me feel that way. So yes, it's a love affair, but it's not a creepy love affair. It's not like that. So.
Well, we know that.
When Dr. Joe and I were in Bhutan last year, we had that moment too, because we've been through our classes together, practitioner training, ministerial training, and it was like being on top of that mountain. And it was like, even after we left the monks, I was still crying, because it's like an end of an era for us, for me.
Yeah.
By the way, can you guys hear the thunder in the background?
No, I'm jealous.
Oh my God.
I am too.
One thing about being in Florida, they had the most incredible storms. And
love it.
Oh, it's just wild. Well, I want to go back to what Laura was saying though, and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Charles, you weren't there when we did the strategic planning, but when the board got together with the strategic planner and they did all the interviewing, and he came back to do a wrap up with us. And he said, one of two things is going to happen when you go off on sabbatical, Joe. And he said, either you're going to feel like you are, so ready to come back and ready to jump into things and you really don't want to leave, or after the sabbatical, you're probably going to go, okay, I can see myself easing out of this. And I mean, I have to let people know that that's exactly what's happened. It's now I'm starting to process more and more my process of disconnecting and making sure that everything transitions right and taking our time, because we're only 8 months, 9 months into this, but making sure that it's done right. But definitely, and I discussed with everyone that I do think that it's only fair. Oh, you hear that?
I heard that one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was awesome.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. And yes, I am. Yes, we are in the path of hurricanes at times, but we have gotten wise to that. And what happens, Trey and I, since we have past benefits, we get on a plane and we fly out.
You leave.
And then we come back when it's done. We're like, okay, that's fine. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, one of the gifts that Dr. Tom gave me is his absence when he retired. And when he officially retired and he left and he went on to, I think he moved to Georgia at the time or something like that. And then I think then he ended up moving to San Clemente. But either way, he gave a gift of not being in the community and residing there for a while. See, God's calling. Looks at it, he's like totally affirming this. And so
Or
I think
he's upset about it.
What's that?
He might be mad.
It's really coming down. It's really, I totally love listening to that. But anyway, so I think that's a gift that I'm looking forward to be able to give you, Reverend Charles, is the ability to lead without having anybody in the shadows close by. And it makes for a cleaner break for me and for the center and for people to start to acclimate and adjust, which doesn't mean I won't ever come back. I mean, trust me, there are going to be times, and I have a feeling that when I come back, I'm going to want to orchestrate the entire service again, but we'll talk about that later. I'm going to pick my soloist, my artist. Anyway, never mind. But I've already thought about that. But I think it's just going to be an
Carte blanche, Dr. Joe. Carte blanche.
Thank you. It's just going to be an easier thing, I think, for everybody. Like transitions are hard, and I've thought about that too during this time. It's like, how do I make it easy on everyone and on myself and on my family? And, I know this is going to play out right. I think that, this COVID thing and not being able to get together, and, I did see where the state has opened it up so that we can meet at, I think, 10% capacity or something crazy like that.
Right.
And I just don't know if it's even, 35, not even 35 people. I think it's like 227 people. I think we just keep doing what we're doing. And then when the time is right, we'll transition.
Yeah.
We will.
Steady she goes for now. You'll be back in a month and we'll, keep talking about things and figuring things out. But for the time being, it's the most important thing is that you continue to have your time, I believe. And I think all of us do, to support you in fully disconnecting as much as possible.
Yeah. And it's been really good. I mean, I rest assured, I do keep track of people that are not feeling well and that are ill. I haven't just disconnected from everything. I send out a lot of text messages and have been calling people. I see the post on Facebook and I'm like, okay, let me follow up on that. And that's not being a minister. That's just being a human being where you
That's right.
care for people. When you see that, I don't feel like I need to shut all of my leadership off or my responsibilities for that. So that's where I say, look, let's give this person a call or let's text them and see how they're doing.
Yep.
So.
Jeff Harrison, you've been instrumental in keeping us going during this time. You came up with a couple things you want to ask Dr. Joe. You want to jump in here, my friend?
Sure, absolutely. One he's already kind of answered, but I'll toss it your way anyway, Dr. Joe. What was your biggest fear in taking your sabbatical, since you've not taken one in the years past, and did this fear come to pass, or was it just self-inflicted, like we think that this is going to be a problem?
One of my biggest fears about leaving the desert is that my mother is still there. So my mom is still there. And so one of my biggest fears is there's no family close by. So that's always been my biggest fear. Now we check in with her. My sisters are all checking in with her. So she's doing fine. You know, one of my biggest fears, and I guess, you know what, Jeff, they were sort of, they changed drastically because of COVID. You know, if things were normal and we were meeting at the center and the classes were going on and all those other things, I would feel differently. But it just worked out that the universe created this time that, yeah, we're still online and we're doing all these things online, but to be honest, it's so different that it was a good time for me to make a break. That Charles.
Wow. That was like right outside that window, Dr. Joe.
I love this. Okay, so we're in a different room now, but the room that we were in had this giant awning, and it had like this big seating area outside. And so normally we would go outside and just listen to the rain and be right there, not in it, but really a part of it. It's so tropical here. It's so beautiful. So I love that. But anyway, back to what you're saying, Jeff. I think because of COVID and because the way things worked out, it actually made it easier on me emotionally to be able to say, okay, I know what we're doing is in good hands, and I can make that exit right now and come back, and we'll put things back together when it's time to put things back together. And I have every confidence in the world. I mean, I guess it's no secret. When I was home in Palm Springs, I'll let the cat out of the bag, that when I was home for a few days, that I went to the office and we all got together and, had some margaritas and some nachos and went through a few things. And I felt very good when I left there. I'm like, okay, you know what? Everything is fine. Just, you know what? They don't need you. They're doing fine on their own. They're doing great, and yeah, you could give input later. But so that felt good too, to have that just kind of touch base with everybody and then kind of go back here, which I have to tell you, yeah, we'll end up, I have a feeling we're going to end up in Florida pretty much. We've made amazing friends here. Like Trey was saying, people come to the place where we're at locally. So we're meeting a lot of local people. And, my prayer was that I would be open and receptive to friendships and connections, so that when we begin the process of transitioning here, we're not alone. And we have made a lot of friends, and we're having a lot of fun, going to dinner with them and going out with them and going to pool parties and things like that. And it's been really nice. It's been really
Lovely.
nice.
So,
I had a question about that while we're on this.
Go ahead. Yep. No, go ahead.
I was going to ask Dr. Joe, because this was really the first true sabbatical you've taken since all your time as our spiritual leader. Do you think that you would have enjoyed, if you would have taken more during that time, do you think they would have been different though? No, because you weren't in that mindset of letting go at that time. Do you think they would have been as enjoyable? You would have made the friends that you did, or how do you think that would have played out? Or do you have you?
I think it would have been a different sabbatical. Of course, I think because of COVID, this became a sabbatical that didn't allow us to go internationally and changed all of our travel plans.
Right.
So, but I'm going to encourage Reverend Charles, that when this transition does take place, that, in his contract every 5 years, or 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is, you do take a sabbatical and you do take some time off, and you have to take the time off. And I tell Elizabeth this all the time. And even you, Laura, that, you don't know that you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And when you finally taste something or when you finally experience something you don't know and haven't known, then you realize how much you really did miss it. And burnout really is very real. And I don't know if it would have changed the course of things, because, Trey's retiring and, he's off now for God knows how well. He's off for 2 years, and then he's rolling into retirement. So he's done. And we kind of planned that 57, 58 would be the time that we retire. So I think timing wise, it worked out. But looking at sabbaticals and time off, I would probably say, people better be more disciplined. I wasn't disciplined, and the church did not I wasn't holding the church up. The church was holding itself up, and I needed to get out of the way of thinking that I was doing that. And that's something that ministers get into, because they feel like, oh my gosh, if I'm not there, people won't show up, and then the support won't be there, and then the world will crumble and everything will happen, and I got to keep, and then you take responsibility for everything. And I would probably say, what I'm glad that's happening now is that there are all those new staff ministers who are on board along with you, Laura, that can, they can step in and really build a solid foundation, so that when Reverend Charles wants to take some time away, that there are capable people of handling the day-to-day operations, like with Elizabeth, and then handling the ecclesiastical portion with the entire staff ministry. I think that's going to be a big something that I'm going to encourage Charles to really do. I was encouraged to do it by Edward Vignon up in Santa Rosa, but I never had the guts to do it. I never put, and now I don't know this to be true, but I never had, this is going to sound crass, I never had faith in our ability to make it financially if I left for that kind of time.
Right.
I thought we would be dipping way into savings, and it would really hurt us, and that people would, not support us financially. And I know that has been proven wrong, because I saw the financials when I was there, and I think people were doing okay. We're not doing great, but we're doing okay, and it didn't collapse.
Right.
That's what's really important, is that people realize that the importance of supporting us. And if they're supporting us during this time of COVID, when we can't even get together, then when we actually do have programs and they're actually able to come to the church and do powers of 8 or tables of 8 or whatever you're doing, the groups of 8 and social things, I think it will be even better.
Right.
I'll leave that. Does
Thank
that
you.
answer your question?
Yeah. No, thank you.
Will someone, so we're doing homeschooling here. My daughter needs emergency help with her computer. Will someone else jump in and lead things, and I'll be right back? It's the reality of the situation.
Mr. Harrison's real good at that.
Yeah. William, we haven't heard from William.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There you go. That'll take up a half hour.
We had a great question during our Sensational Six, and you've talked about how when you first got into this philosophy, the demonstration you had with Carly and how that all worked out and wrote everything down to a T, and that is truly amazing. The question that we had, which was kind of interesting, and it's going to be a variation, is was there a time that you can talk about where you were at that low point, but through faith and through this teaching, it really got you through, and on the other side was even stronger?
Yeah, I think the center itself, the church itself, the building known as now as the Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, it's really has a really rich history of just so many different people coming in and out, and things happening in the world. I guess the question for me, William, is are there still some things left out there that my faith has been, I'm holding to it, and they haven't manifested yet, which is, this COVID thing and the chaos around the politics and the chaos around, Black Lives Matter. And it's a very chaotic time. And leading in a chaotic time, I thought we did really well during 9/11, when we led through 9/11. And then, we've led during the recessions and financial times. And those were times when I was able to hold my faith up and share it with other people, and they drafted and became one with that as well. And we did make it through those things. I mean, those are some real, and actually too, even the transition from Dr. Tom to me, I mean, that was an exercise in faith. And yeah, there were people going, oh, I don't like Joe and I'm out of here. And, and that was fine. I had to be able to be willing to let people go so new people could come in. So, but having seen the ebb and flow of things, there's some real specific times where faith has pulled us through. And right now I'm knowing that my faith, along and leading with that faith, is going to move us through all the things that we're going to be moving through just over the next few months. So to me, that's really important to put that out there, because it does feel chaotic, and you know, to watch things happen the way they've been happening, and to say, okay, I don't know what you got planned, God, but for God's sakes, just, you know, all right, I'm just trusting. So does that answer your question, William?
Yes, it does.
All right. Yeah.
It's wonderful to be able to teach from a
Specifically, I can point to times, and Laura, I think you'd be there, and Elizabeth too, because you were there for most of them as well, where we saw the cycles of things go up and down. And, you know, we saw really important people leave our center, and you know, financially that really hurt, and emotionally it hurt. And then some people moved, or they made their transitions, and we had to move through all of those things. And my faith has always been, you know what, the universe will always provide. And if those of you who have been on our board of trustees, you know that that's always my philosophy. It's like, we never said don't do something because we didn't have the money in the bank. It's like, the roof is leaking, we have to get the roof fixed, we don't have the money. Well, yes, the money will appear, get the roof fixed, and then the money appears. I mean, we've gone through, you know, computers and phone systems and all the stuff that Elizabeth has managed, and every single time, and I don't think that without exception, actually, I'll say this, without exception, every single time since I took the reins of the center, we have always made it through everything that we thought we wouldn't make it through, or would be really difficult. And we always made it through. So you know, Dr. Tom used to say the sun rises over Indio every day. And he was absolutely right. And every day the sun comes up, and every day we have this opportunity to exercise that faith. And now looking back at it, you know, I think that if a person leads and has that idea that we just do what we have to do, and the universe will provide, and as long as we're prudent and fiscally responsible and spiritually responsible and emotionally responsible and physically responsible with the universe, it will respond in kind, which I think it has, you know, pressed down and flowing over.
Amen.
Yeah.
Sounded like that was a question about faith. Is that?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was about, you know, how faith is, and how faith, and now truly, you know, looking at what's happening now and the phases that I'm about to go through over the next, you know, year or whatever, how long this takes for us to make these transitions. I need to know, and this is what I tell Elizabeth all the time, and I tell everybody, it's like, no, we just all need to know that this is unfolding as it should for the highest and best good of everyone involved. And, you know, we will move through this with grace and ease. And yeah, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be, you know, there may be conflict or something like that, but nothing is going to hold that Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert from thriving, because it's been there doing that exact same thing for almost 50 years.
Yes.
It's not going to change.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Just want to take a right turn or a left turn, whatever turn you want to. What's the most fun you and Trey have had together since you've been on sabbatical? Like, is there one activity or one moment where you were like howling so hard your head hurt, or, you know, something like that?
Can't share those. Trace, I hear, shut up. He says, I'll share them. No, you won't.
Just a fun moment. Give us
so
a moment.
Okay, so yeah. All right, Trey, I agree. That's probably true. You know, we're driving around Fort Lauderdale, and there's like these open houses, right, of these gigantic mansions that are, I mean, put it to you this way, they put a 150-foot yacht as a staging tool on the dock right outside your house.
Wow.
You know, they put a Bentley or Ghost or whatever those things are in the garage. They put Ferraris, and they stage them with all of this, you know, ultra expensive stuff. And so we had some moments that when we walked in this house, you know, several of them were like, oh my God. So we did have that take your breath away. Oh my gosh, what would that be like to be like that, to have that kind of opulence? So those were fun moments too. But on another level, we've had some really fun moments with new people and friends where we have laughed till we almost cried. And that to me it means more to me than the yacht sitting on a dock, but Trey liked the yacht on a dock. But to me, it's been that moment of just being able to laugh. We've also, it's just so funny because, you know, we're at the beach, and yeah, everybody's pretty good about social distancing and things like that. And like, we're out in the water in the ocean, and it's just Trey and I just kind of bobbing together, you know, hitting the waves. And we're meeting people that actually just come up and go, hey, are you visiting? You know, are you local? And then they strike up a conversation, and you know, and then, you know, next thing you know, everybody's out there having dinner together. And it's been, that part has brought great joy to us. I'm trying to think, you know, well, everybody was laughing at us because there was this hurricane/tropical storm coming to Fort Lauderdale, and they really don't know when it, you know, they're all these weather maps and models and all that stuff. And we're just laying there in the pool one day, and I said, you know what, to be honest, I really don't want to be here when that happens, because primarily I have a CPAP machine at night, and I won't sleep all night long if we lose power. So I said, we've got to go somewhere. And so Trey and I have never used our flight benefits ever, because we're always, I need to know, I'm getting on the plane, our reservation is here. We have zero flexibility in our travel plans, and you have to have flexibility. And so we just kind of looked at each other and went, we didn't go anywhere we want. Where do you want to go? And next thing you know, we're like, you know, everything's shut down, but let's just go to New Orleans because it's shut down, and we'll just stay and order food, and we'll wait for the storm to pass. So we jumped on a plane, and we're like, oh, how fun is this? It was totally spontaneous. It was just like, you know, we woke up one day and went, oh, let's go to New Orleans. We're like, oh, off we go to the airport. And it felt really good to have that, that flexibility that we've never felt before. And so, and that brought us joy. So next thing you know, we're in New Orleans, and yeah, everything was closed. I mean, you could eat and dine at the restaurants like they do now with limited capacity and social distancing. Bourbon Street was totally closed. There were no bars open. So it was just about going to the gym that was, you know, empty, at the hotel, which was empty, and eating at restaurants, which were empty. But we avoided, and then of course the storm totally missed. We go back and we're ridiculed by everybody for being overreactive. Overreacting.
Oh,
Overreacting and go, it rained for 30 minutes. You guys left town for 2-3 days. It rained for 30 minutes. So yeah, those were some moments.
Fun.
I love it. Let's hop on a plane. Let's go work out in New Orleans and hop on a plane. Oh, gee, I'm kind of hungry. Okay, let's hop on a plane. Let's go to Chicago and get a Chicago dog.
You know,
Whatever. Go work out in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we've never taken advantage of that in our life, and people know that airline employees, that's a big thing that people do, right? They take advantage, and people always say, "Oh my God, you must have traveled the world for like on passes or for free." You're like, "No, we've never done that because we're always on a timeline." I back to church on Sunday. I've got to get there. Carly had to go to school. Blah blah blah. There was never that luxury of time, and now. During this 3-month period, there's just this flexibility that we've never had before, and it's really nice.
Love it.
It's really nice, and it's something that I feel like, my God, Trey, we've missed this for, 30 years. We haven't done this, and now we get to do it, and it's really nice too. Let me add this too. One of the reasons we're picking the East Coast is Trey's family. He gets on a plane at 6:30 in the morning. He's at his dad's house by 9:30 in the morning. So it's not like a haul across the country. And you have to spend, 4, 5, 6 days to make it worth your while, and then haul all the way back for another day. There's not a day of travel both sides. It's just a couple hours up, couple hours down. It's really easy. So he's enjoyed that kind of flexibility, and it's been really nice because there have been times when he needs to go home really quick and see his dad. So it's been a perk as well. Does that answer? Really?
Yeah. Do you imagine? Not to get too personal here, but do you imagine Miss Janie Hooper coming to, if you guys relocate to the East Coast, bringing her out there as well, or what would that look like?
Well, there's discussions about that. Yeah. I mean, I have 2 other sisters and, several nieces and nephews, and there's been discussions about, if Mimi wants to go, where is that going to be and what's she going to want to do? Obviously, we're not going to force my mom to do anything. We would encourage her to do that because we don't want her to be at a place where she's, by herself without family close by. And we don't want to put the responsibility of any of that on anyone else. So, we've been talking to her about it. She's I would say she's, I wouldn't say the door's open. I would say the door's unlocked.
Okay, okay, that's
And
good.
that we might see the door open later, but I think it's unlocked. You know, I think she sees the importance of being close by. So whether it's Florida or whether it's, you know, the East Coast or in, you know, Pasadena,
Yep.
who knows where she's going to end up. But it is nice. Trace family, everything we do is from Florida, everything, or from the East Coast. We go to New York a lot. We go to DC a lot. We go to, you know, our cruises leave out of Florida. Our friends live here in Florida. One of our favorite places is here in Florida. So we do a lot of stuff that's on the East Coast. So it just makes a lot of sense for us and for you, Reverend Charles, to have me that far away. It's going to be.
I think the time on the phone though goes as fast though. I mean, it doesn't. The phone line's still like, oh, it's ring. Does it ring it rings in the same amount of time if you're in Palm Springs as if you're in Fort Lauderdale?
Sometimes I look and I'll go like this. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Dr. Laura, has your face looked to me like you wanted to ask something or say something, no?
I was just going to say, Elizabeth and I have been teasing Reverend Charles that we're going to move to Fort Lauderdale and take over the Fort Lauderdale church. And then have Dr. Joe come in all the time to be a guest speaker when he's in the mood.
Yeah. I've been asked already to do that, you know.
I know. They're looking for a minister, associate minister.
Well, now Tom Kelly's reaching out to me too. So, I mean, you know, not for me, but, you know,
No,
for someone. So.
Yeah, and I'm like, no. I think my days of leading a ministry are numbered, actually. And I'm okay with that.
I hear you. That's why I always like being the assistant, because it was never the same pressure that you had. I mean, it was a pressure, but I never wanted that total sense of responsibility that you have.
I'm telling you, the 3 months that we've had off, I felt very confident in the team that we built. You know, that Reverend Charles was there, and Laura, you're there, and all the new staff ministers, and Elizabeth, and all of them. I mean, you just look at that and you go, there's a team there, you know. I'll be part of the Who. You know what? I tell people this all the time and they don't believe it. I'll be part of the Who dynasty in no time flat. They're going to be like, Joe who? You know, and you'll have a picture of me hanging up somewhere and they'll go, is that Ernest Holmes? I mean, people, before you know it, you know, they look at Dr. Tom's picture and go,
Sure do.
Holmes? And you're like, they never even knew Tom. And there'll come a time when, you know, Joe will be like, in the back. That's great. That's fine. I am so okay with that. People have actually engaged in debating my ability to disengage, and they're like, "Oh, well, you can't do that. You can't do this." I'm like, you know, you probably don't know me very well because I'm pretty good at that stuff. But in the meantime, I don't want to dismiss the fact that we have a lot of work to do at the center to rebuild our center, because after COVID, you know, we have to rebuild the ministry. And I think it's going to be a great challenge, because I do think that there will people that will get vaccinated. I think there are people that won't get vaccinated. I think we're going to have to figure out how to do services and how to make sure we're keeping people as safe as we can. I think it's going to be a very interesting little maze that we're going to have to maneuver through. But I think we could do it. But I think it's going to be a really interesting journey as to how we do it and how we come out of this and when. And until then, just, you know, keep the boat afloat, you know, just make sure that, you know, everyone's needs, if they want to log in, they can log in. If they're getting calls, they're getting cards from Reverend Charles, they're getting contact from one of our staff ministers. People are all out there. We're out there, you know, letting people know that we're still there. That's important to me.
Yes. I continue to daily, Dr. Joe, be so in love with the team that we have as well. And so much talent, so much consciousness. I mean, it's just an extraordinary collection of people that are stewarding the center. It's awesome. It really is.
I think too, that's not by mistake.
Yeah.
You know, when I asked those new ministers 2 years ago to get into ministerial training with James, you know, that was by design. It's like, I knew, and I do know, that it can't rest with one or two people. It rests with a team of people. And now you've got Jeff on board with doing his marketing and doing all the things he's doing from a tech point. and you've got Reverend Lori who's also helping him. I mean, every aspect. I'm thinking of Gail, or Reverend Gail, and Reverend Dale, and Reverend Brad, and Reverend Cheryl, and I think of all those people, and I think of how.
And Reverend William.
Of course, William. I already talked about him.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
All of them play such a key part in leading, you know, and that was by design. Laura knows that was how I brought in the first group of ministers, and now this is the second group. And William, I'm not dismissing you, but you're doing a great job. I do tune in when you're on, just because I'm like your dad. I'm like, let me listen.
You know what? I feel the same way.
You're doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job.
Yes.
I'm very pleased.
Yeah.
And I'm very
What
happy.
up?
Look, I even have my own little flowers. And Trey, we're so domestic. We even went out and got like pumpkins for our room.
Pumpkins, love it. Yep. You know, I noticed, Dr. Joe, when you got back and we had that meeting in the office, that your eyes looked different. And I've mentioned this to a number of people. Your eyes actually looked different. And that to me is an indication of where your soul is, right? Where.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, sleep is, sleep has been amazing. And just, it's so funny. I challenged myself when I first started this, and we decided we were just going to go to one place and park it because of COVID and all that. So I challenged myself to say, okay, let's see how long it takes before you get bored. Okay, let's just see how long it takes. Let's see how long you can sit at the pool and look at the sky and look at this tropical environment. It's like a rainforest here with just all sorts of greenery. It's like, and then how long will it take before you get bored? And I have to tell you guys, I'm not even bored yet. And I've been gone for almost 2 months. And it's like, I just keep waiting. I'm like, no, maybe I need to stop waiting to get bored, because you're not going to get bored. Trey and I, we now get it. We get it now. All those people that retire going, I don't know what I don't have time to get done what I wanted to get done. I understand. And I'm not retired yet, but I understand that, because there are times when Trey and I go, we need like 3 more hours today. It's like, but what did we do? I'm like, well, we had coffee. You know, we had coffee and muffins till 10. And then we, you know, it's like, oh my God, that's why you saw that, you know, it does it. There's a big exhale. So yeah, the strategic planner was right. The strategic planner was right. And when he said, you know, when you come back, you're going to have the feeling of, okay, now you're going to be okay with it. And I guess that's what I would probably say. I am 80% okay with releasing things. I'm sure there's still a part of me that grips on, and you kind of saw that probably when we met for that one day. But for the most part, I would probably say 80% of me is ready to say, okay, when the time is right and the congregation is ready, and the staff is ready, and Reverend Charles is ready, then you can do this, Joe. And then I'm just a person who just, it's funny that I even say that, because I'm like, you're just Joe. Everybody retires, right? Everybody does that. But yeah, I can, for being a control freak, having the reins, like Laura said, for that long, I'm actually 80% okay going like this. Your turn.
Well, I think in ministry it's different too, Dr. Joe, in that you've had personal relationship with thousands of people. You've touched thousands of lives, thousands and thousands over the course of your career in ministry. And so it's not like you've been an analyst at IBM and you've, had your circle of 10 or whatever, or what, that people depend on you for their heart too. And that is a burden that a minister carries. And you've been carrying that for a long time.
Yeah.
I say burden in the most beautiful way. In that way.
There's a certain level of responsibility and energy that goes into that. In fact, one of the guys that's here all the time, he's asking, he said, how do you feel about, not doing that anymore? And I'm like, you know what? I liken it to that crystal clear lake that you see. It's like everybody in their life throws a giant rock into a lake. And some people, make big waves, and some people little pebbles, and they barely make a wave. It's like, I feel like in my life, and then the ministry that we've had, and the Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, and before that, the Church of Religious Science in Palm Desert. Before all that, it's like we've made some really big waves with a lot of people, and we've touched a lot of people. And, you know, they're like, are you going to miss that part? I'm like, you know, right now, no, I just want to see where all the waves end up. You know, I'm sure there will come a time when I will be drawn into doing something else. And when that time happens, I'll know what it's supposed to be. But right now, I don't have to know that. All I have to know right now is that my gym appointment is at 3:00. And, you know, and
William's checking his watch.
yeah, I'm like, it's almost 2 now. I'm like, okay, well, let's go have my coffee and we'll go do that. It's like, that's right now. And now when I get home though, I'm fully prepared to like put it in drive and continue to do ministry, what we do. But I am telling you that when I come back, it's probably going to be a little less intense because I'm going to let other people step up into their roles. And there's enough people now to that all of those things can be covered.
Yes.
I didn't see any questions in the margin, so I guess nobody.
I want to say something.
Yeah, and I don't think we really. Sorry, Elizabeth, real quick. I don't think we really solicited that, Joe. So. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Whenever I deal with a difficult person, Dr. Joe, you always remind me that you are a walk in the park compared to all these people. You keep telling me that. And, but truly it's been, and I know you're not retiring right now, but it's the only way I can describe the way I feel for you is I adore you. It's like, there's this sense of, I mean, just like when you tell me yes, you are moody and, you know, things like that. And you always say, oh, I like it better when you're not in the office. No, I don't. I love it when you're in the office. So I really do miss you. And I'm not saying anything against Reverend Charles, but I really, truly miss you. Yeah. And it will be nice when you come home.
It'll be nice to adjust all of those relationships, business relationships into deeper friendships, which is why we have to have extra guest rooms when we buy our place.
Absolutely. With the eye roll. Didn't you say at one point? Yeah, there you go. You know, Elizabeth, to kind of jump on, piggyback on that, and it is 11, but I think if we can go a few more minutes, can we just roll with this for a little bit? Just, you know, a few more minutes.
I'm good. I have nothing to do. My gym appointment isn't for 59 minutes, so I don't care.
Love it. Elizabeth did mention when you guys have traveled internationally together, how safe she always feels with you, like you're taking care of your people. And I think that was a beautiful thing I heard her say about you, that you are mother, father, hen, you know, whatever, that you take care of your folks. And my sense, and you and I have had wonderful, life-giving conversations. We've had challenging conversations. We have all the conversations we need to have. Yeah. My sense is that that's how you've tended to your community for so many years, is that you've loved this place. Yeah. And I sense that big time. Yeah. And can I just one more thing, Dr. Joe, if I may, before you share your thought. Sure. I want to say, as the NKOTB, new kid on the block, that I urge everybody to cherish these next however many months, years it is, because change does happen. But to have a leader like you've had, like we have, and knowing that Dr. Joe's transitioning intentionally with a tremendous amount of heart, knowing it's time for him to retire, that we actually, all of us, make a point of cherishing every moment that we have together. Because I am a different person than Dr. Joe. Yep. And my intention and commitment is to tend to the community. Hopefully, I pray as well as he has. But I know that there's a lot of emotion involved with transition. It's change. And I just really it just occurred to me that I think it's important for all of us to make sure that we do cherish every moment.
Yeah. Every moment. I look forward to having many more, you know, and I look forward when we can get together in the same room and the band and have people and singing and clapping. And I whenever that will be a really interesting and magical moment for me when we can resume that part of our center, because I won't feel right until we have some of those, because I don't want to have a departure that is, just not have those experiences again. I want to be able to have those experiences again. Until then, we'll continue doing what we're doing and we'll continue doing as well as we are, because I know we are. And, you know, we'll be ready. We'll be ready.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah. So are we good?
One more thing. One last thing.
Yes.
Well, I put Camp Fofanique on my daughter's mosquito bites. You've got a lot of people tuning in right now that are watching live or that will be watching at some point that you've walked with for a long time, some longer than others. What do you want to say directly to them right now?
I just want to say we've had a remarkable journey, and it's taken a turn during this since March, a turn that no one could have ever anticipated at a time when no one could ever have predicted the things that are going on in the world. And I would just say, I want you to draw on everything that we've talked about over the past 46 years at the Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert. Draw on whatever that is and whatever you've learned, and continue to live it yourself and try to share it in a subtle way with other people. Because the only way we're going to continue this shift is if you create that shift within yourself and continue to monitor it and not get bogged down in all the appearances of everything. So I want you to take everything that I've taught you and that all the ministers and practitioners and everything that's you've learned, and you experience those emotional moments during the service where you broke into tears and your heart cracked open and you were able to finally express some emotions, that you take that gift and really continue to look at it, and don't look at it as something that, you know, is just in your past, but bring it forward and look and say, I need to draw on that emotion, that wisdom, that knowledge, or a phrase that was said, or something that was written, or something that was sung, and say, you know what, this is going to change my moment right now. This is going to change my moment right now. And I was just sharing with someone, I said, about now people are lonelier than they've ever been before. And it's like, okay, so now's the time. If you're lonely and you're feeling alone, we have to find ways to reach out to other people and be grateful and touch them, so that it in return comes back to you, because the reciprocal relationship between giving and receiving at this time is really challenging. And so it requires us to be more giving than we've ever been giving before. And so I want us to all think about that and just embody those ideas and say, you know what, we will make it through this, and there will be a day. I remember when we were talking about having a big Easter celebration, and then it became the 4th of July, and, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. Whenever it will happen, we're going to combine everything together, and we're going to have a magnificent reunion with each other, because we will have really waited this one out, and it is testing our strength, and it's okay. We're going to make it through this. It's stronger than we've ever been before. And I just know it. That's
Raise the roof, baby.
Well, I do know a place where we could have a great gala.
Yeah, we got to figure. Oh, yeah, exactly. We have to figure all that stuff out. All that stuff will come together.
And I just remind everyone that you are coming home in October. You're not retiring right now, it sounds like.
I'm not retiring. I'll be back in mid-October.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Coming home.
But until then,
Don't call. Until then, yeah, don't call, don't email.
until then,
We love you, Dr. Joe.
love you guys too.
Right, just thank you for, oh, wait, hold, just real quick. Something just came through. Can you see that? Oh, clap heart. Our hearts are growing even fonder. Yeah.
Thank you,
Arlene. Yeah. Okay, be safe, have fun. Give that scruffy bearded guy just a little bit of this from me, would you?
Yeah. Well, he gets a lot of that. All right. Love you guys.
Okay, much
Love
love.
you.
Best day ever. Peace out.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.